Republicans seem to have no appetite for a Liz Cheney White House run in 2024. She said she would consider it. The Wyoming Congresswoman lost her primary race in a landslide after becoming one of Donald Trump's top GOP critics and sitting on the January 6th committee. Newt Gingrich doesn't think her political future looks bright.
You can't get 29% of the vote and turn around. She compared herself to Abraham Lincoln. I think Liz has no future.
Some op-eds also throwing cold water on a White House bid for her. If Cheney runs, she'll be the Kasich 2.0, another more blunt. The utter idiocy of Liz Cheney for president. Those two headlines. And a new report this morning that President Biden made a phone call to Liz Cheney after she lost. Ben Domenech, Fox News contributor, editor-at-large for The Spectator. Ben, it's always great to have you in focus. I most recently read that Liz Cheney seems to think that had she said some of the things that pro-Trump opponents were saying, that it would feel like a game. She wasn't playing a game. She wouldn't do it.
You know, Harris, I think that this is a very sad occurrence, and I think it was something that actually could have been avoided had Liz Cheney, perhaps adopted a different posture. But clearly she thinks what she thinks in this context. How much of that is based on her own, personal agenda versus, the other things that she's prioritized at the January 6th committee, only she can know that. But I'll tell you one thing, I don't think that this idea of her running for president in 2024 is going to be anything other than a media sideshow. Something that's totally a creation of the media that wants to see her in this position of being a thorn in President Trump's side and the side of his supporters and fellow Republicans. There's nothing that makes you more popular in the Republican Party among the media than being one of those people who's always critiquing everything that they do. And I think that unfortunately, this is a circumstance where if I was the RNC and I was looking at potentially avoiding, having her on a debate stage, I would just have a policy that says that you set the threshold at whatever Liz Cheney's polling at +1. And because if you do that, then you'll be able to avoid that sideshow pretty easily, I think. Real
quickly, because I was looking at those 10 who voted for impeachment, 8 of them lost in the primaries. That was just this week. Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, first of all, is retiring. Liz Cheney is losing her job. The only 2 Republicans that were on the January 6th committee, not because Republicans hadn't fought to get more, but that's how it worked out for Democrats, Nancy Pelosi. So what happens next? Because, you're losing both of these people. Technically, are they really Republicans then, for the sense that Democrats would want to use them?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that we're really seeing right now, Harris, is that, these are the voters speaking out. It's one thing to say that, this is something that Donald Trump's doing to change the Republican Party, but it's voters agreeing with him, saying, we wish that Liz had different priorities when she was serving us in the House of Representatives versus the January 6th committee, or that they might have liked her to be more even-handed. Frankly, I think that would have actually attracted more eyeballs and gotten more attention had they taken that route. They chose not to. But one of the things that I do think that we have to say is this is a decision that Republican voters are making. They want to go in this direction. They want to stick to this America First approach to a more populist form of conservatism. And they're going to send a lot of people to Washington this November who are going to be very much espousing those types of mindsets. How that changes policy is a big question, and we don't really know the answer to it yet, and we won't for some time, Harris.
So from what you've said and what others are saying, Liz Cheney won't be part of the nomenclature for politics in November. However, the liberal media are spinning in favor of her. They like her. A New York Times with a glowing op-ed calling her loss a moral victory, claiming she's a hero and that history will smile on her. Last quick words.
I just don't think that Liz Cheney is going to go down as being Abraham Lincoln or Winston Churchill or any of these other over-the-top comparisons. I think that she made the choices that she did for reasons that, are personal to her. But the simple fact is she's not going to have that kind of impact on the Republican Party, not now and not going forward.
I feel like we were warned about this next topic. I feel like we already knew that China would mine TikTok and work against us. TikTok getting in now on the censorship game. The social media giant tied to communist China, as I just said, says it now is going to team up with a government organization here in the United States. The goal, to fight harmful misinformation ahead of the November midterms. In a blog post, Ben, the company's head of the U.S. safety says the app will be labeling content related to the midterms. It also plans limiting political posts that cannot be substantiated and may ban some users. So they're going to be fact checkers over at that TikTok place. A new study shows TikTok gathers and gives away more user data than any other platform. Just throw that in, too. Ben.
TikTok is gigantic, and it's a gigantic problem. It's something that is run out of communist China and prioritizes the things that they would like for American eyeballs to see, eyeballs around the world to see. And I think that what we've learned in the past year really is that TikTok cannot be trusted when it comes to the way that they warp and alter the way that especially young people in America, especially young women in America, are being affected by their product. I think that this is something that requires more government attention. I do think that TikTok represents a real danger to us here in America of allowing this kind of propaganda in. We never saw anything like this during the Cold War in the Soviet Union. They never had the ability to reach into your house and affect the way that your teenagers are thinking about the world to the degree that TikTok is. And now the fact is they're openly saying they're going to be on the misinformation, disinformation hunt. Look, Harris, I think we all know what happens when companies start to behave in this way. They tend to target only one side of the conversation, and they are completely happy to let all sorts of other misinformation, disinformation, and even threats continue to be hosted on their platforms.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who literally, legitimately is worried. It's not just teenagers on TikTok. It's a whole lot of grown folk, too. And China is our enemy. Why would our U.S. government get together with the enemy to watch for misinformation? I mean, look, we'll watch it all, Ben, but that's what's got me.
Yeah, it's deeply concerning.
All right, good to see you.
Absolutely, and you are right to be concerned about it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.